Hey, how are you guys doing today? You guys stress eating? Need some help? Well, I think I got some answers for you. I put out a question on Facebook looking for the questions that people have regarding emotional eating. And so I wanted to go through all the answers to the questions that were presented to me on Facebook. So here we go. All right, the first question is, what are good substitutions for emotional eating that still give the same effect? So let's look at that question. She wanted to know what are good substitutions that give the same effect. So let's ask ourselves, what is the effect that food has on our emotions? And why do we eat when we have our emotions? So I'll try to dissect this for you. So the effect that food has on our emotions is it shoves them down and it denies us our humanity. It denies us taking action on these emotions. It's like saying to your emotions, you shouldn't be here right now, go away. So I want to caution you in wanting to get the same effect from these whatever things that have the same effect. Here are some things that have the same effect. Overspending, over Netflixing, over Facebooking, over drinking, pornography, sex addiction. These all have the same effect, but that's not what we want. So what I teach is to use these emotions to fuel you to make changes in your life. And instead of reacting to your emotions, just channeling the emotions to do the right thing, to do the thing you want to do. So if you're sad, be sad, grieve, do what you got to do, but don't shove it down with food. I understand sometimes we got to push through it. We got to put on a happy face because you want to be strong for the person or what have you. But overall, in general, I say it is not good to shove these emotions down. We need to be human, and maybe we need to be example to a person that's grieving, that it's okay to grieve instead of pushing it down and putting on a happy face, because I feel like that's where a lot of people are. They don't think it's okay to grieve. They don't think it's okay to be sad. They don't think it's okay to be scared. So everybody's trying to put on this strong front, strong face, and so they push it all down with food. So I teach people to handle their emotions without reacting to them in a way that they don't want to. Instead of punching someone in the face or biting their head off, I help people to look at their thoughts and see, is this the thought I really want to have about this? Or how do you want to feel about it? And what is the thought you have to think to feel about it that way? So I help you to adopt new ways of thinking and new ways of feeling about things. So I hope that helps you. Here are some things that you can do though. Let's say that you're tired and you need a pick-me-up. What I do is I turn on Pandora to a really upbeat station. There's so many different kinds and so many different tastes, but my preference is the electronic cardio because that gets my heart pumping. I love that. So if I'm at work and I just really need to put my head to the plow and do some work, I put on electronic cardio instead of eating a brownie. The next one would be, let's say I'm too amped up and I'm really anxious, then I would pick a station that calms me down. And of course, there's a whole different variety of that kind of music too. But my favorite kind is my favorite station is the classical study music. It helps me to focus and it helps me to chillax. And another thing is maybe you need to cry, but you just can't. You feel like you've completely disassociated and you don't know how to get reacquainted with yourself. Find music that makes you cry. And did you know this, that Pandora actually has a station called Music That Makes You Cry? You're welcome. Yeah, check it out. There's some really good stuff on there. And of course, praise and worship music. There is nothing like praising the Lord and bringing him into your atmosphere when you just need to feel amazing. So there's that. And there's a zillion radio stations for that as well. The next question is, I don't know about emotional eating, but my appetite has gone way up. And my life hasn't changed since I've always worked from home. My hours have gone up by 6 extra in a week, but that doesn't account for me doubling my intake. So what I think may be happening is that you're using extra brain power to solve problems at work, possibly. Maybe even physical activity, but it doesn't have to be physical activity causing your increase in appetite. Maybe you're stressed out about the overtime or something else going on in your life. Like this question was given to me during the time of the coronavirus. For those of you who are watching this in the future, in the distant future, this question was given during that time. So maybe the coronavirus blues got you and maybe you're stressed out about it, and that would account for some overeating. Because our brain, it burns a lot of calories, and stress especially. So I hope that helps. I hope that answers your question. I mean, I go through this too. When I'm at work and things are really crazy, I am ravenous, and I don't mean craving. I mean physically hungry. Like if I don't eat, I'm going to be hypoglycemic, ravenously hungry. So I know this for a fact. When I have a slow day, I really don't have an appetite, not nearly as much as I do on a crazy day. So let's see, what's the next question we have? The next question is, what is the biological case of emotional eating? What is the science behind it? So the reason people emotionally eat is because of the dopamine hit we get from it. It's like a drug. Dopamine is. It's like the happy hormone. And so when you eat, and usually when we emotionally eat, we go for highly refined foods, which are concentrated forms of dopamine in our brain. When we anticipate eating the food, we get a dopamine rush from that. But then eating the food also gives us a dopamine rush. So that's the scientific reason in a nutshell for overeating, or emotional eating, I should say. Another reason would be anxiety. So when people are anxious, when you eat, it actually calms the body down. It takes the heart rate down because now your body is busy digesting the food, and it tends to calm people down, especially if they're eating comfort food. Yeah. The next thing, or the next question is there a way to tell the difference between cravings related to emotional eating and cravings related to deficiencies? So the best way to tell this is if you're on a highly processed diet, eating a lot of highly refined foods, it's going to be really hard to tell because your body gets into this like a craving cycle. You lose touch with your hunger signals because now you're just satisfying craving signals. So get yourself on a whole foods diet, and then if you're craving a whole food, then you can pretty much be guaranteed it's not a emotional eating problem. It's probably a deficiency and your body needs that. I highly recommend reading the book called The Yoga of Eating. Such a good book about listening to your body cues. And and we can't all live like monks. I mean, monks, they like live up in the Andes away from anything, and they don't have busy lives. They have time to cook all their food. They don't have much physical activity, so they can just sit there all day and meditate. And that's not us. We're all movers and shakers. We got to have fast food so that we can keep up with our busy lives. So we got to learn to have that balance in our life. So I hope that helps. The next question is, what are the most common reasons people have for emotional eating, and what triggers this? So I think some of the most common things would be anxiety, trying to calm ourselves down, boredom, trying to feel amazing and brilliant and like we're doing something, and sadness, trying to put on a happy face when we don't want to deal with something. So those are the three most common reasons people emotional eat. Those are the three most common triggers. And so again, I help people figure out what their triggers are and figure out ways to cope with them without emotional eating and without replacing them with other things like overspending, over drinking, things like that. So there's that. And the next thing is, that's actually it. I am so glad you guys watched this. If you have any other questions, if I'm leaving out anything, I would just love it so much if you would send some comments in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you like this. That would help me so much. And also, if you want a little mini coaching session with me, download my workbook/journal. Down below is only $3. And it is a really good way to detect if you are craving or if you are hungry, if you are emotional, or if whatever. There's a lot of good things in there. So check it out and let me know if you have any questions about that also. Also check out my website at www.destinationnewlife.com, and I look forward to hearing from you if you guys want a free consult. Okay, you guys, take care.